Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Congratulations, 47th President of the United States, Dr. Cornel West. I am Tracy. As you can see, I am by myself. I'm hoping a guest of mine will be coming in soon. Before we get started, again, visit the website at cornelwest2024.com. That's where you can learn about volunteer opportunities. I'm looking down to see if my guest is going to be coming on. Um, let's see. I'm still looking, everybody. Don't I don't think they will, but I can do this show by myself. I think I've done this before. Um I'm saying go to cornelwest2024.com. That's where you will learn about the platform. You can sign up to volunteer. You can, let's see, you can do a lot of things. Donate. Sorry, I'm just thrown off today, but I'm going to get back on track because I had to remember the task at hand. And I'm going to be making this announcement several times in the show today. I am sponsoring a virtual fundraiser for Dr. West. I'll leave that link up there for just a little bit so you can copy it down. Registration starts at $10. All money raised will go to the campaign to help Dr. West get on the ballot in each of the 50 states, minus the ones he's already on the ballot in. But I'm going to leave that link up for a little bit and behind the scenes kind of check some stuff here. So um, I am losing track of my thoughts. We're gonna get this right back on track. We're gonna get this on track. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. So the vice presidential nominee was finally announced. It happened on the 10th, which was like 3 days ago. Today, Saturday, Friday. It was Wednesday. It was Wednesday the 10th. And on the Tavis Smiley show, Dr. West announced that his running mate is Dr. Melina Abdullah. Um, to be honest, I did not know who this was. I had to do a whole lot of Google searching. Um, because I had no idea who this was. But now hearing her, reading some of her work, knowing what she's done, I think this is a great pick. Although and yes, I'm leaving that link up for a while because I want you to copy that link down, copy that link down, copy that link down. Please copy it down. She seems to align with a lot of what Dr. West believes. And so now that we know that the ticket is completed, we know what's happening. We know who the nominee is. Let's see. Um, we now know. And it seemed to take a long time. And I know, if I'm being honest, I was growing impatient because I'm like, who you going to name? Who you going to name? Who you going to name? I'll tell you what, this ticket has also made history. This is the first time in American history that candidates for president and vice president have been the same race. And that has never happened before. Um, and so that's his history making. And yes, I'm going to leave that link up because I'm leaving that link up. I forgot to announce that the virtual fundraiser is on May the 10th. It's virtual, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, I'm going to leave that link up because this campaign needs all the support it can get. We need to get the message out there, um, and get, as many people as possible to come to that event so that we can support the work in all 50 states. Um, and I just got confirmation from my guest that she's coming on. So, I'm still going to talk about Dr. West. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to talk about Dr. West. But isn't it amazing how mainstream media wants the whole situation in Gaza? Let me explain what happened. So Dr. West had an interview with CNN, and I think it was him and Dr. Abdullah. I think I didn't watch it because I don't watch mainstream media anymore. It irks my nerves. I can't watch it. I can't do it. I can't. And it came up. I don't know if it was them reporting it, but apparently Dr. West and Dr. Abdullah did an interview, and they wouldn't. The criticism was they wouldn't condemn Hamas, and I don't know. I don't know. I know why that's a criticism, but it's like they're trying to come up with anything to make you vote a certain way. And it doesn't make sense to me. Why not just let people vote for who they want? Why do you have to use bully tactics and all of these things to get people to vote for Biden or Trump? I mean, you got Trump sitting here telling his supporters, you gotta vote for me, because if you don't vote for me, you'll get Biden again, and he's gonna take you down this road that's terrible. You got the Biden people saying if you vote for Trump, everything kind of blows up, and just go, like, we won't have an America. You haven't had Kamala Harris say that if Trump, oh well, there she is. Okay.
Hi,
I now have
Tracy.
a guest. Oh my goodness, I'm on struggle street out here. Whew.
I hear ya. I hear ya.
Oh, I forgot to tell everybody, like this page. Um, I,
Yes.
please like this page. Please like this page. Please like this page. And of course, um, CornelWest2024.com. I'm going to get into my 5 questions just here in a bit. But I was just talking about Dr. West selecting his vice presidential candidate, Dr. Melina Abdullah. What are your thoughts about Dr. Abdullah?
Um, so I didn't know that much about her until she was selected, and since then I've been trying to learn a lot more, and I'm very, very pleased so far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was in that same boat. I was like, who? Um,
But
I
I'm
know
glad
who
it's not
I.
a politician.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, well, dang, there goes that Jesse Ventura bet I had going. Throws that one right out the bat. Throws it out the door. Dang on it. Um, yeah, I had no idea he was going to pick a black woman. I thought there's no way he picks. No, I just had it in my head. I fixed it in my mind. I was like, he's not going to pick another black person. No way he does it. And he did, as what Dr. West always does, is the opposite of what I think he should do. But it's his choice to make. And again, I didn't know anything about her, but after learning about her, I was very pleased with her, with that pick.
Mhm.
Very, very pleased. So
Yes.
I'm very pleased to be wrong again.
Yeah.
And oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I think it stays in line with his philosophy of being morally consistent, and he makes choices based on his principles and his values, and that's what makes him different. And he's going to continue to do so regardless of whether or not it's politically expedient. He's not going to make those strategic compromises on what's in his heart. Um, and that's what makes me happy to follow him. So.
That's so unusual because we are so used to, well, the garbage that we
Yep.
have, where you just have to,
Yep.
well, you're for healthcare, sort of. but you're not for Medicare for because it costs too. Like we're so used to people selling out that it's like it's sort of
Yes.
normal. It's like,
Yes.
whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's like, oh, somebody's telling the truth. Like, I believe Dr. West when he speaks.
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
believe him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what he really believes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. And I talked about the fact that this ticket, in first time in American history, the presidential candidate is black and the vice presidential candidate is black.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. The Democrats are never going to do this.
No. No.
They're never going to do this. They're like, well,
Yeah.
we got Kamala Harris. Yeah, you do. She is black. I mean, she is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take that away from. But
Right.
two candidates, yeah, I don't have any. And we know the history of the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to everybody watching, remember, I don't promote my own podcast on this. I won't tell you to subscribe or anything. This is all about getting Cornel West to be the 47th president of the United States because we deserve better choices.
Yes.
We deserve to live in a country that cares more about people than the military industrial complex.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's exactly correct.
We deserve better. And I believe, and all my guests have believed, and I'm speaking for everybody, so I'll just do it, that Dr. West is the best candidate out there. So the way this show works is I go through 5, possibly 6, maybe 7 of the dumbest things that I have ever heard about Dr. West. And some of them will make you laugh. Some of them, no, none of them I can see what they're saying. No, I can't. They're just dumb. And we'll discuss them. And we'll go back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth because I always have an opinion to add. Because everyone has given me such great answers, it amazes me. But first, briefly talk about why you are for Dr. West or why you are supporting Dr. West for president.
Okay. So when Roe fell, my daughter was in the process of searching for a college. And she's also, like any juniors in high school on the social medias. And she sees the rates of sexual assault that happen on college campuses. That's just a fact that we've somehow come to accept in this country. And so she didn't want to put herself in jeopardy of being on a college campus where she didn't have the rights to her own body if, heaven forbid, she was assaulted and had to deal with an unexpected pregnancy. And when that right was taken from her, she became activated. Her feminism became activated. And it reignited my own. I was very much much more active feminist, I guess, not in terms of a feminist movement, but in terms of just how I lived my life. And then somewhere along the line, I was very much in mom caretaker mode, and that other passion kind of took the back burner. And she reactivated me. And then October 7th happened, and well, let me back up. Prior to that, I started following, I have to plug, the Red Nation podcast and Red Nation Media Group. I've been following them. They're an Indigenous media group. And they had Dr. West on their podcast and talking about Palestine even before October 7th. So I had a little bit of background education. And then he came on and talked about his presidential campaign. And I was really moved, very pleased, but still kind of the strategic mindset, even in myself, of like, well, it would be great, but like a third party's kind of not, sorry, my phone's going to go off. Okay. It would be really great, but a third party is not a practical choice, right? And I'm thinking logically, practically. And so after October 7th, and especially Andrew Bushnell's, um, that famous question, that now infamous question of like, what would you do if your country was committing a genocide or, participating in a genocide, because you're doing it right now. And I signed up to work with the campaign because I just couldn't not do anything anymore. I had to be part of something that was actively working against that kind of evil and horror in the world.
How dare you vote for your choice?
Right?
How dare you?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, now before I start off with this question, I always tell these stories about how people have harassed me on my Facebook page.
Okay.
My Facebook page is now Cornell West Central. Every other
Love it.
day, I'm just posting something, doesn't matter what it is, clips, whatever. So this is the one that I hear the most. There's no study to prove this. There's no, it's just pure silliness. Number one, a vote for Cornel West is a vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that too. I hear that too. And um so let me preface this by saying I'm in California, and statistically and historically the state has gone blue. It's reliably gone blue. Our electoral college doesn't represent any minority choice or voters. And, that's just not how our system works. So for me, I'm not like it, that just doesn't apply here in my state. It just doesn't. If you look at the history, something like insane would have to happen for California to go red. So for me, I don't know. It's not a issue for me, I guess, personally. And I don't know how I would feel or what I would do. Well, I do know what I would do in a red state. I'd still be working for the campaign. Um, because like you said, it's your voice, it's your choice. I've never been affiliated with any political party. I never signed up to join either one in my entire voting life. Because I've always believed they have to earn my vote, and they have to earn it every time. And so I don't join any group because I don't want them taking my vote for granted. I don't want them taking it for granted that, oh, well, she's part of the party, she's going to fall in line. No, I'm not. I'm just not. So
Yeah,
that's kind of where I
again,
stand.
that
Yeah.
you see, again, all my guests have said such eloquent and answers, and I don't have this quality. And sometimes I wish I did because I'm like, I have one vote. That's all I get to cast.
Yep.
Now, some people say, if you live in battlegrounds, I don't care if I lived in, I'm going to try to name them all: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. I'm missing a swing state. Oh, Nevada. I don't care if I lived in a swing state, my state, your state. I don't care. I'm voting for Dr. West. That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. It does
Yeah.
not matter where I live. I'm going to take my vote, which I have the right to cast, and I'm voting for Dr. West.
Yeah.
I don't care if it costs you because I'm not going to cry tears for you.
Yeah.
You've literally done nothing to make me even think about voting for you. Oh, except for
Hmm.
kill 31,000 Palestinian people. But hey,
Right.
we're just
Yeah.
supposed to be like, oh, happy with that.
Yeah.
I can't with this. It's like they say it and they're so confident. Well, you're just voting for Trump. No, I'm voting for Cornel West. That's who I'm voting for.
Yeah. And like for the people who are still in their sort of strategic mindset, because I was there until October 7th, like I get it. Um, For them, I typically ask them, like, what will it take? How many friends and family, like, what's the percent on the news when they start reporting that people are willing to leave the Civil War Trump rhetoric for something else? Like, what will it take for you to feel safe enough to vote for Dr. West? Because if your argument is, I don't want to vote for Trump, okay, don't vote for Trump. That's fine. But come join me on the campaign and help us make it more likely that Dr. West will take your state. Because by not doing anything, you are leaving it up to Trump or Biden. By not doing anything, you are just letting it happen to you.
And that's such an excellent point. It's like people don't get, they're literally the same. If you take everything that Trump did in his administration and you take everything that Biden did in his, it's hard for me to tell the difference.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, children are still in cages. Okay. Yep. And I don't think people realize that. I'm like, do you not realize that children? Oh, no, not, yes, under this administration.
Doubling down on border security. He went and made a whole trip and did a whole thing. It's just, yeah, it's just not, I can't find myself believing in any of that.
Yeah, and so, especially when you said when Roe fell.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, Trump appointed the judges, that happened under Biden's administration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when it happened, Elizabeth Warren, who I have no, just like, actually came up with like a halfway decent idea. She said, why don't you just use like the federal like basis and have abortions up for there? I'm like, that's not a terrible idea.
Right? Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense to me. It's not on the table.
At least it's something.
I'm
right?
Like, what do you
At
mean it's not something? On the table? What do you mean it's not on the table? So I've never believed that the Democrats wanted to codify abortion. I've never believed it. And they just use it, in my opinion, to just get money. Because they literally had, under Obama, 60 Democrats. Filibuster proof. And he says it's not a priority.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I'm supposed to go vote for this. I'm just supposed to ignore all of what I see and just say, okay, Joe, you got no, you don't, Joe. Joe, I want you to listen to me. No, I'm not going to go on. This is about interviewing you, not interviewing me. Okay, so the second one is where I get, they all make me mad.
Yeah.
But this one and the next one after it makes me even more angry.
Okay.
Now is not the time for a third party candidate to run.
Yeah. Now is not the time. A record number of people voted uncommitted in the primaries. If there's ever been a time, it is right now. That's it. Like, you can't, there's no contesting that. People are unhappy with both choices. A lot of people, dare I say, the majority of people. Now is exactly the time. Just, are we going to seize it? Are we as a people going to choose to seize it or not?
Exactly. Very well said. Here's what I'll say. Never is the right time for them. Here's what they'll say. I've always described the Democratic Party in this way. They're the boyfriend that says they're going to do right. They never do. Oh, maybe next time you'll get Medicare for all. Or next time you'll get your voters' rights extended. Or next time, and next time never comes. They move the goalposts. Never. I wish they would just say, there's never a good time for you to run. Just say it. Just say there's never a good time. We control the system. Instead, well, now, maybe later. When is later? What
Yeah.
date? What time? Where are we meeting at? What we're gonna do? Like, what are you? Oh, it makes me so angry because I'm like, just say never is the time. We don't want you running. We want to control this system,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't complain. So sit
Mm-hmm.
down, behave, and do what you're told.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, um, I mean, I think that's the reality that people feel, even if they aren't willing to articulate it, they feel it. They want to believe that's not true, but I think everyone kind of feels like there's a group that's in power and they're holding on to that power and they don't want to let anyone else in. And there are a variety. They'll slap plenty of different reasons on why you're not invited in, but we're not invited in. I think that's just what it is.
Yeah, and when you see what they do in your face, and you say, "Yep, that's my candidate."
Yep.
Do you really want? I question whether people really want to vote. The people who are supporting Biden, do they really support him, or do they think they have to support him? And I think it's more if they think
Mm-hmm.
they have to support him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine
Yeah.
anybody saying, "Yep, you know, when you killed those 31,000 people, that was the right thing to do."
Right. And like the answer to that I have heard is, well, he's not the one dropping bombs, right? But he's paying for them and he's sending them. There are weapons. It's our money that's being used. Like that is complicity in genocide.
Well, he went around Congress not one time, not two times, but three times to give them more money.
Yeah. And did some behind without Congress approval.
And did
Without
you hear
having to.
any of those congressmen say, you know, now that was
Yeah.
wrong?
Right.
I heard
Exactly.
no, he got no pushback.
Yep.
They were just like, okay, sure, go around us.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, isn't Congress supposed to? I thought the way it worked was, it's just, oh my gosh, it just infuriates me that Dr. West gets like all of these negative attacks, and they literally, you're asking me to choose between a moral candidate, which is what I believe Dr. West is,
Yes.
and a man that
Absolutely.
plagiarized his college papers, a man that cheated on his wife while she was okay. Let's just do a comparison. Um, I I just let me calm myself down. The now is not the time argument has always irritated me
Yeah.
because it's like, who are you to determine when somebody else gets to run?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that right. That
Mm-hmm.
person that's running has that right.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get to
Absolutely.
my next one, I do want to plug the virtual fundraiser. May 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Minimum cost is $10. Maximum cost is $50. All the money raised will go to the Dr. West campaign. I'm going to leave this up there because I have 99 tickets I have to move.
That's
And so
wonderful.
we can do it. There's a link. It's going to stay up there while I go through these next couple of questions and stop saying she's pimping. Yes, I am. Because the campaign needs money to make sure Dr. West gets on the ballot in all 50 states.
That's
So
right.
that will stay up there May 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Virtual fundraiser. Next one. This one I heard on the news because I said I was going to take away the child support one. So I replaced it with this one.
Okay.
This one I heard, and I just was flabbergasted that somebody in the DNC said this. Dr. West running is a threat to democracy.
Hmm. Okay. That's new. That's new. Dr. West running is a threat to a stranglehold on our democracy by the elites. Absolutely. Um, Dr. West running is a threat to um, greed and corruption in our democracy. 100%. And you know, saying that a morally consistent person is a threat to democracy, I mean, who are you, Putin? Like, seriously? That's something that we used to hear, at least when I was growing up, and we would hear about Russian elections and how they were, um, just pretend it was, you know, they just had an opposition party for show. Like, that's what you're saying. You're saying you want an opposition party that's for show and that you want to control everything and you don't actually want opposition or to give people choice.
No, they want submission.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah.
don't say anything. Don't complain. Let us
Yeah.
control your lives. Again, sit down, be quiet, and do what you're told.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
there's people out there who support Dr. Cornel West. We're not going to let it happen. We
Right.
will not. We were going to work harder,
Yeah.
smarter. We're going to work to make
Yeah.
sure he gets on the ballot. And of course, I have a ambulance coming down. This live across the street from a fire station. This is what you get. So I'm just waiting. So we have some comments here. Hello, Parker. How are you? You probably have already just talked about the VP pick, but if you haven't, which I have, what are your thoughts? I was surprised, but then I shouldn't have been when I learned about her background.
Mm-hmm.
I literally was like, who?
Yeah.
I had to do Google search. I was like, okay, let me go in here and search this. But very pleased with the pick. Very pleased. Okay, now this, can I take this one, please? Can I take this Supreme Court argument?
Yes.
Okay, the Supreme Court, none of those judges are either liberal or conservative. Well, no, let me backtrack that. Yes, they're all corporatists, including the newest one. They're all like they have a set, like, how can I say this? Yes, Trump um uh nominated three people that were against Roe v. Wade, even though all three of them lied and said, "Oh no, it's his president. We can't do anything about it." And then, of course, they voted to let it up to the states.
Right.
The Democrats had the majority. I thought they could have at least said, they never talked about impeachment. They never talked about hearings. They never did anything. So if I'm supposed to vote for Joe Biden because of Supreme Court justice picks, he's not going to get them unless he had like 60. Now, I could buy your argument if he had like 60 Democrats and there wasn't a Joe Manchin and there wasn't a Kirsten Sinema, right? I could buy it then.
Mm-hmm.
But with this 51-50, yeah.
And he doesn't, the Democratic Party is entirely unwilling to pressure their entire party into allowing women to be equal persons in society and have control over our own bodies.
I mean, Biden said during the primaries for Congress, we're not gonna codify Roe v. Wade. I don't know how anybody pro-choice is voting for this man. He literally said with his own mouth, "I'm not gonna codify Roe v. Wade."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm voting for him again. Why?
right.
Exactly. Again, I'm just not understanding it. Even if you're pro-life, because I'm going to talk to the pro-lifers, because I surprisingly used to be pro-life. Republicans don't want abortion to be banned across the nation. Think about it, they had Trump, they had a Republican Congress, and a Republican Senate. Did they have any bill banning abortion that Trump signed? No, they did not. No. They don't want it made illegal across the nation, and Democrats don't want to codify it.
The majority of Americans don't want it made illegal across the nation, and I think Republicans knew that, and they wanted to leave it up to the courts so that no one could point directly at them and say, you did this. I think they would have been crucified within their own party if they had. Um, and, or at least they would have been crucified publicly. Like they just would have felt very much on tenuous ground if they had done that, knowing like the majority of Americans don't want it. They let the Supreme Court do it because the majority of Americans don't get to vote on who's on the Supreme Court. So they wanted to put it outside of our input.
I think my point is, though, when things like this happen with the courts, Democrats are just like,
oh,
we
well.
can't do anything. We're going to just sit there and do nothing, and we're going to do nothing. You don't have any fight. And that's what Dr. West has. Dr. West has fight in him. And that's probably the number one reason I support his candidacy. Because he's not going to just sit around and say, well, I lost. He's going to use this thing called the bully pulpit to travel across and tell Americans why Congress was wrong.
Yep.
If they don't vote his way.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know.
Call them. He will name them if he has to. Like, absolutely. You're right. Like, that's, he has the fight. I have noticed, and I think with a lot of people that are not conservative, I think they've noticed that Democrats' unwillingness to fight for a while, like since Obama was blocked from getting his pick or his nominee.
Oh no, that was consensual. Like, because you're gonna just sit there and let them do that, and you say nothing.
Yes,
okay,
no.
I'm defeated. You could have held a press conference. You could have went, taken Air Force One, flew to the state of Kentucky, had a rally across Mitch McConnell's house.
Yep. Yeah.
You did nothing.
Yep.
And I'm supposed. Well, it's the Senate's fault.
Yeah, no.
It's just no. It's your fault. You did again. He never wanted to codify abortion. I wish Democrats would say that.
The party, none of them, nobody fought. It was hand wringing and, oh, look what they're doing to us. You are supposed to be in power. Do something with it.
Well, again, they act like they don't know what a bully pulpit is.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Biden. Oh, he irritates the stink out of me because he's all like, well, you got to work by. If I hear the word bipartisanship one more time, I promise I'm going to throw something. I'm going to throw something because I'm like, I'm not going to work with a party that wants to restrict black people's voting rights. I'm not working with you. Yeah. I am not working, not with you, but with you. Yeah. It just amazes me. I'm like, and there's so many people I think that are so willing to accept the Democrats' excuses, and I'm like, oh man, hold on, because Nelson, I'm going to get you, but I want to put up this comment by Parker. And with the idea you were saying earlier that Biden could have tried to allow for abortion services on federal land existing in red states, yes. He could have allowed it on military bases, which every state has at least one military base. Every state has one, even Alaska, even Hawaii. Yes, he could have. Harris said that's not on the table. It sounded, even though it came from Elizabeth Warren, I was like, that's not a half bad idea.
Yeah, it really, it's shocking. It's shocking that would just be so easily dismissed. Again, a lack of will, a lack of willingness to actually fight back against what the Republican, you want to blame the Republican Party for what they do, but you don't want to actually fight back against it. No,
because they need that enemy, right? Yeah. They need that enemy. It's like, oh no, not us. It's them. It's them, not us. But you put us in charge, and then when they get in charge, well, we're in charge, and then we don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Again, this is why we're telling you, go to CornelWest2024.com if you are sick and tired of being lied to.
Yep.
You're being lied to. I wish I could just say that louder. You're being lied to.
Yeah. Or at least to hold them accountable and make them do their job. It's your job to lead. It's your job to do these things, to secure protections for your people. And if that's not on the table, working for the people is not on the table, you shouldn't be in office.
Exactly. Exactly. It just I I'm going to talk about this at the end because I want to save my rant. I got to drink some water. My throat is dry. Um number 3. We're at number 3.
Okay.
This one, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. Dr. West can't be trusted to be president because he changes his mind too much. First, he ran with the Movement for the White People's Party. Then he changed over to the Green Party. Then he ran as an independent, and now he's running under the Justice for All Party. If he can't make up his mind then, how is he going to make up his mind as president? And I'll let you take this one.
So all of those are the very intentional hoops that the settler colonial state makes someone go through if they want access to the halls of power. It's just, you have to get really nerdy into political science and into like the rules and regulations, but it's like saying that you don't get to have a driver's license because you got in the wrong line at the DMV and then you went to the other line and then someone directed you finally to the right line, and now you're waiting to see the person at the counter and the office is closed and you have to go home. So now you don't have a license. Like, that's not changing your mind. That's trying to deal with the madness that is our bureaucracy.
Exactly. Exactly. And how many times has, you said it perfectly. The Movement for White People's Party, and yes, that's what I call them to the people. Why you call them that? I call them that for a reason. They know why. I know why. And everybody else should know why. But
learn your history. It's all out there.
Yeah, it literally is. But they didn't have ballot. They didn't have ballot access. Not in one state. Not in 2 states. 0 states. 0 states.
Yeah.
Dr. West has explained why he left the Green Party, because they were going in more of, you got to be here, you got to be here, and Dr. West's goal and mission was to speak to the people.
Yeah.
He's still an independent, but he formed the Justice for All Party because in some states, when you form a new party, the ballot access becomes much easier.
And that's one of my states. That's exactly where I'm at. Yeah.
And 99% of people aren't going to realize that.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to run with the media narrative. Oh, he can't make up his mind. No, but this is what has happened. This is why he's doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he always says this is a moment within a movement. Did I get that right?
Oh, you did. Yes.
I was like, oh, good. I'm like, oh, good. Because I won't talk about my hesitations with the Green Party. I will not.
Mm-hmm.
But you've heard them before. Here's an interesting question. I keep saying I'm not going to go back, but Parker's asking some really good questions. What state do you think that Dr. West will get the most votes in?
Ooh.
If I said all 50, is that going to sound like I'm on something? Because if I say, well, he's winning everywhere.
Prisoner of hope. That's what he says, right?
That's a good question. The most votes in.
Yeah, that is a good question.
It has to be. I'm thinking a battleground state.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Boy, Parker,
I genuinely don't. Yeah, that's a great question.
Now,
I genuinely don't know enough about like the electoral map or constituencies. Like, yeah. I don't get that nerdy into the whole political machine of it all. So
Or
I genuinely I wouldn't even have a guess.
he said California because that's his home state, but he lives in New York.
Okay.
So California has the most people. So that kind of makes sense.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you're going just based on pure numbers, the statistics would lean. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Now
Alaska's not getting up
Nelson
on the
is
ballot right
agreeing.
away.
Nelson agrees with me. I think it's going to be Michigan. I think that's what. I mean, he's winning. Don't get it. Don't get it twisted. Right. Right. Don't get it like all mixed up. Like I did not title this show. Congratulate. Well, maybe if he went, no, that's not what I titled this show. So don't get it twisted. But I have to agree with Nelson. I think it's going to be Michigan. It'll either be Michigan or Nevada. One of those two, he'll get the most votes in. And yeah,
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, I could see either one of those. Makes sense.
I'll tell you the state he'll get the lowest votes in. Indiana. Oh my gosh, my home state. But that's okay. We're moving to the next one. This is the fastest I've gone through these. Um, no, before I get to that one, there's always a concern that I have with anybody running for office. Anybody.
Mhm.
Um, running for office is if you look at the squad, when they first got in, everybody was also hopeful they were going to, in the words of ALC, bring the ruckus. And you see what they have brought
Mhm.
supporting genocide,
Yeah.
voting to increase the military budget.
Yeah.
Do you worry that when, and notice the guy keeps saying when Dr. West takes this, when Dr. West is president and Dr. Abdullah is vice president, do you worry that they're going to somehow forget those values?
No. No. I think they come from a work and a practice that includes surrounding themselves with people who hold themselves accountable and to whom they feel their heart feels accountable. There are people that their heart is accountable to who I don't think will allow them to stray from their values and principles. That's what being a valued and principled candidate is. Um, and every time that Dr. West makes a decision like picking Melina Abdullah for his VP that isn't politically strategic, that isn't like sacrificing something in the name of picking up a few extra voters or um, that isn't theater. That's just true to what his heart is. He shows us that that's what he's going to do even when he is in power. He's showed us over decades in his career being morally consistent. So why would that change now?
That's a great answer. That is a great answer.
Thank you.
Parker has a correction for me. Rashida and Cori Bush were the first to author ceasefire resolutions in Congress, like within 1 week of October 7th. Look how long it took them to call it just not Rashida to lead, because she called it right out the gate and then got
Mhm.
censored for it.
Yes. Yeah. That was.
Look at their voting record. That's all I'm going to say. Look at their voting record. And you know they're going to all vote for Biden. They're going to do as they were told.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what do you make it? You talked about this because I don't even think we have this option in Indiana to vote uncommitted. I don't think we have it. We just have to vote for who's on the ballot in the primary. I don't know what to think about it because I'm thinking, okay, you voted that way in the primary to send a message, but why not? Why support Biden in the general? Like, why vote uncommitted in the primary if you know eventually you're going to vote for Biden in the general? Because he's not changing course. He's literally said there's no red line. I'm going to support Israel. They have a right to defend themselves, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't understand the whole uncommitted voter's mind.
Um, I think that is I like the uncommitted movement just because it shows the rest of the states that don't have that option how many people are out there that are willing to that are potentially open to something different who who are voting dissatisfaction and that dissatisfaction with the Democrats and Republican options is an opportunity for Dr. West and Dr. Abdullah, in my opinion. I think that um, but I see what you're saying about November. I think what those voters need to continue to ask themselves is like, they voted uncommitted because they were dissatisfied. And is that their party responsive to their dissatisfaction? Or is their party just moving along business as usual? And if that's the kind of nation you want, where you can be dissatisfied and that your leaders don't care, um, then you continue with the standard fall in line vote. And if that's not the kind of nation you want, where you show how dissatisfied you are and um, the leaders respond, like Dr. West, as an individual person, as a leader of people, stands up and says, okay, I'll try, I'll put myself out there, then you need to make a different choice. Like, you're voting for the kind of democracy that you want. Do you want a puppet one? Do you want a fake one? Do you want to like role play democracy? Or do you actually want leaders who will listen when that many of us show that we don't like what's on offer? Because
Yep.
I personally think they're supposed to listen. Thought that's, kind of what I learned in school about the definition of democracy. So.
Yeah. I learned a lot in school. Now I'm like, well, that was wrong. That was well, they lied on that one. They sure did. So Nelson says that those that are uncommitted probably don't know there is hope with a third party.
Yeah, I think they were showing uncommitted with a hope that Biden and the Democratic Party would get the message that this is something that's really not okay. That genocide's really not okay with the majority of Americans, and we have a problem with this.
Yeah,
Um,
and
and they got the message. They just don't seem to care.
yep, and Parker, you just made the point that I was just about to make in the great state of Indiana. We don't have the uncommitted. You would vote for who's on the ballot.
Yeah.
They don't accept write-ins, so you had to either pick
Ooh.
Biden, Marianne, or Dean Phillips. One of those three. We do not get to say, hey, we don't want it like these.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yes, I will be voting in the primary, and most likely I will be skipping the presidential and going straight. It's literally only one person I want to vote for.
Yeah.
Literally one
Yeah.
person. That's all I'm going to vote for.
Yeah.
If I, so I'm going to figure out if I have to vote that one to vote for the other. It's not going to be Biden. I guarantee that.
Yeah.
But because I support the Senate candidate, I'm like, well, dang, I do got to go vote.
Yes. Uh-huh. Exactly.
Um,
For me, it's always the options that I've always stuck with were just leaving that particular office blank.
yeah, I think that's what I'll do because
I think that's what the majority of people have to do. The uncommitted is I hadn't heard of that before, but again, I don't get into like political science weeds
yeah, because
or the inner workings of the bureaucracy.
so our state is backwards, 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 backwards. Okay, so the next one, I said I was gonna drop the taxes one because he already um answered that one. Oh, if Dr. West wins, no, why is Dr. West is running as a vanity project?
Okay. Um I mean, if all he wanted was to look good, corporate donors would help him do that. Why would he come to the people? We're not going to make him look good. We're people. Like we're we don't have the money to do fancy um I don't know, promotions, and that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, a vanity project, like
Kind of like Vivek Ramaswamy. Um, yeah, I'm calling people's names. Who else? Some people say Marianne. Um, I'm trying to think of who else.
I
But
mean,
people
okay.
literally have said that. They literally have said, "Oh, it's a vanity." I'm like, wouldn't he run as a Democrat though?
Mhm.
Like he
Yes.
was literally run as a Democrat.
Yeah.
Like why would
Yeah.
he run outside the? Do
Yeah.
you know how hard it is for a third party candidate to get on any state's ballot? Any
Yep.
state, pick a state.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I mean. That's the whole taking corporate money, taking corporate donor. Like, of course, he would affiliate himself with whoever was going to give him the vanity that comes with vanity project, the notoriety, the all of the attention and rah-rah that would come with the Democratic Party or some other institutional corporate backing. Like, it's just not what's happening.
Before I move to the next one, again, May 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the virtual fundraiser. I'm sponsoring this on behalf of the Cornel West, Melina Abdullah campaign. 99 tickets I have to get rid of. Support starts at $10. It ranges up to $50. Please, please, please. I'm begging. I'm like begging to come to this. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. May 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next. Okay, so now I said
Mhm.
I'm going to plug this all through the show. Um, I don't think Indiana gives us the option to write in names. We're just stuck. And yes, we are one of 6 states that are like that. I can't
Oof.
name the other 5, but yeah, we could.
Yeah.
It's like we're just a state ruled by a bunch of idiotic Republicans and Democrats that sit by us like, well, that's what they're gonna do. Um,
Yeah. It's when you realize like how much they don't want to hear from the people. Like, those are actions that show you that the people that are currently in power don't want to hear from the people. They don't.
exactly.
It's our very first constitutional right is freedom of speech, and they don't want to hear from you. Like, what does that tell you about the people that are in power right now?
It tells me that they're bought.
Yep.
It is not a democracy. We don't have a democracy. We have an oligarchy. It's a system. They might as well work. You know how NASCAR, they'll have like all their sponsors on their car. Like
Yes.
that's what Congress should do. Just
At
have like
least it
a
would be
bunch.
more honest.
I mean, have patches of like every group that's donated to them, or like every pack that they take money from. And they're like, oh, I know that's what our government is.
Yep. Yep. It would be
I,
honest. It'd
and
be right out there.
um, I want to take a detour before I get to my last one because the last one, I said I was going to take off the child support one, which I did. I said I was going to take off the taxes ones, which I said I did. So I added one. Ooh, this last one, I sat there like, what did you say? These last two, I was like, wait, say that one more time. Say that again so I can make sure I understand you. Because what you're saying is the stupidest thing I ever heard. So here it is. I said I was going to wait, but I won't. I'll do it now. This kind of goes back into my number one argument. It ties to it, but it's kind of an offshoot of it. If Dr. West keeps running, and this, he said it for all third parties, but because this show was called Congratulations 47th President of the United States, Dr. Cornel West, I'm just going to say Dr. West. So if Dr. West continues to stay in the race for president, Trump is going to win the presidency, and more people will die in Gaza, and it'll be our fault for voting for Dr. West.
Yeah, that's
You can't believe people say this stuff out loud, but they do. They literally say these things out loud and think they have a point.
What I hear in that is like a very deep fear of just everything that's happening in the world, and a desperation to cling to something that's normal, not normal, familiar. Even if it's not good, at least it's familiar. I hear like a battered spouse in that statement. And like, you need to leave. This isn't how it should be. You shouldn't feel like that.
Okay,
you shouldn't feel like that.
You just said something that caught my attention. You used the battered spouse.
Yeah.
I think I know where you're going, but could you expand on that just a tad bit more?
Sure. It's similar to like the analogy you gave earlier with the boyfriend that keeps promising he'll do better. This is the battered spouse who like is hurt again and again and again, but stays because that's what's familiar. And going out and doing something else is scary. And they're so afraid of something else because they don't know if it'll be better. And they're so afraid that it would be worse than this bad thing that's happening right now, that they're paralyzed into not doing anything.
Okay, that's where I thought you were going. I'm like, wait a minute. Before I get to the last one, I gotta have this discussion because it irritates me that people, the demopubs, that's what I call them, because they're literally one party. They're the same coin with two different sides. So I've came up with the name demopubs. If somebody comes up with a different name, please let me know, because that's like giving them too much credit. I love when a third party candidate since this show was called, has Dr. West's name in it, I'm just going to use Dr. West, runs for office, and now all of a sudden he has to have all of these qualifications, be strong on foreign policy or be strong domestically. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Last time I checked, there are only 3 qualifications to be president. You have to be born in this country, 35, live in America 14 years. Dr. West meets all of those. Where does it say you have to have foreign policy? Where is this at? Who told you this?
And he's better than the other 2 choices. So on all of those policies, like, visit the website, check it out. You'll see. Read it. Read the policy pillars, because it's all right there.
It literally is. Yeah. It literally is. Then there's the website right there. Final one for today's discussion. And I appreciate everybody here, because I was on struggle street. I was like, oh my gosh, my interview's not coming. What am I going to do? So Trini said, I'll do it. I was like, do you have an hour that you can spare? Because right now. So from now on, I'm going to verify with the guests, like, the day of, like, are you still coming? Because I've never
Mm,
had to do that. So thank
yeah.
you for stepping in at the very last minute. Um, but I want to say this in terms of some of the flack. I talked about this last week where I caught unmitigated hatred for saying that Joe Biden was a failure.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
there was a point in the campaign, this campaign, that I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm not gonna do this. I was still gonna vote for Dr. West.
Yeah.
Don't get it wrong. I was still gonna vote for him. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna volunteer. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of going out there hearing Trump is gonna win all the time, all the time, all the time. It's what's starting to get me.
Yeah.
But boy, the hate that I got for posting that, I was like, I want to thank them. And I want to thank them again. I'm taking this time to thank them again for putting fire back because they literally did something for me that I could not do for myself.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing, all the encouraging words I was saying to myself, they weren't working.
Yeah.
But seeing their hate for third party candidates, I'm like, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back and I haven't deered off of it. So every week I'm gonna thank them because they literally did something for me that I could not have done for myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to tell everybody that's supporting Dr. West. Keep going.
Yes.
Volunteer. Talk to, like, I'm at Hoosiers for Dr. Cornel West at Outlook.com. You can always email me. I'll talk you down. Just like they talked me back on the campaign, I could do the same thing for you because it's hard. It's hard to see hurt people not realize that they're hurt. And
Yeah.
America is hurting, and you have people who they mean well, but they're gonna keep voting the same. They're gonna keep voting the same way, and then wondering why they're not getting anything different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I want
And
reparations. Biden gets me closer, but does he
yeah.
give you reparations?
Right.
No. Does he give
Right.
you what you want? But you're
Yeah.
going to vote for him because he gets you closer? How close do you want? I actually want reparations.
Yes.
I want it. I don't want to get close to it, be like, oh, well, dang, it was close. No, I
Yeah.
want it. I want a $27 hour minimum wage.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
I am so frustrated by seeing um like I said, I it hurts me to see people who I know should know better hurt
Yeah.
and they don't realize that voting the same way, that's what's hurting me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can go off and say whatever you want.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just it's that feeling of being defeated that I hear in them. Um and like I'm glad that like relit the fire in your soul, that it touched your heart in a way that inspired you to stick with it because one of the things that's really drawn me into working and volunteering with the campaign is a lot of the talk about how this is the moment in the movement, which means like, yes, the campaign is for the moment. But this is a movement. This is like, we're not just going to pack up and go home after November. Like, we're still here to fight the next fight, to organize against the next thing. Like, we're going to keep going. And we're going to build it until we win. Like, that's it. That's all you can do is work on it every day, and keep going. If you want real change, like you said, if you want real change, if you want to vote on getting closer on, um, I don't want to get closer. I don't want to keep being on the outside looking in. I actually want things to change, and they can.
Exactly, especially our military. I could go into a whole, we have the situation in Gaza, but so many people forget about the Congo. So many people
Hmm.
forget about Yemen and Syria, places that our government, countries where they had duly elected officials, but because our government decided, hey, we don't really like them, so we're
Yep.
just going to throw them out. You don't live in that country. The people of that country, that's who they wanted, but we don't
Yeah.
like them. That doesn't
Yeah.
suit our interests.
Yes.
We could be
Whose
taking
interests? Corporate interests.
corporate interests, exactly. Corporate interests. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
But we could, I believe in monetary theory. I do. I believe that we don't go with the gold standard anymore. So yes, technically speaking, we could fund the war and Medicare for all. But I'm against the war for moral reasons, not for
Right.
economic reasons.
Right.
But when you look at, if you're in that old realm of thinking, think about it like this: Dr. West is for decreasing the size of the military so that we can be a good world partner. I've heard no third party candidate say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're definitely never going to hear it out the Demopubs.
Yeah.
He's for reducing the size of the military so that we don't end up getting attacked because other countries have had enough of our BS.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
We're taking over governments, and you think they're just going to sit there and just be like, okay, America, take over.
Right.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's and we haven't even gotten in terms of like the campaign hasn't gotten to promoting their economic justice pillars yet, but I have to believe that part of that is also going to include a conversation about how the United States military is the biggest contributor to um, climate change because of how much oil and gas we use. Like, we are literally killing ourselves. We, the United States, are killing the earth. Our tax money by these huge projects that we're funding that use so much fossil fuels, and those budgets could be put into care for our veterans who have already served, who desperately need care, we have let languish, and care for our people.
We can literally eliminate homelessness right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nobody but Dr. West is having that conversation. Well, now
Yep.
I have to say West Abdullah.
Yeah.
Again, I don't hear any candidate saying I want to abolish homelessness. And he put a dollar amount on it.
I love that. Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
you know what? We can. But
Yes.
the corporations don't want it. It serves their interests
Yep.
when there's homeless people because
Yeah.
they always want us to depend on them and need them and have to have a desire for them.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Yeah.
is 1% of the 99% of the wealth is in 1% of the people's hands? Really?
Yeah.
You're working. I mean, I make more than $15 an hour and I guarantee it's not enough.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
So when I heard $27 an hour minimum wage with considerations for people that lived in other places, I'm like, I'm in. There's no
Right?
ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just,
That's yeah.
I just literally want to ask, like, why? How can you, like, here's how I feel, and I'll say this, and I will shut up, yeah, because I said I was on one today. The day was not a good day for me, but it's gonna be okay, and I'm gonna be okay. Um, I literally don't understand why people don't want to vote for Dr. West. I don't get it. I don't get what type of campaign that. I think he's more crucified on the left, and I mean independent media, and by that I mean RBN. But I'm not calling names. See, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Um, but every word he says is criticized. Every stance he takes is criticized or is deemed unrealistic. You can't eliminate homelessness. You can't increase the minimum wage to $27. That'll put people out of business. all that tells me is that you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
You're scared that somebody's going to think, you know what? That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep. And also, someone's going to think, hey, if we could have been doing this all this time, why didn't you guys do that?
It wouldn't take biting but a sign of a
Yeah.
pen, like
Yep.
signing a sheet of paper to cancel student loan debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, some people argue with me that he can't do that, but they didn't read the Education Act of 1965, but just me with facts. It wouldn't take a much for him to contact Benjamin Netanyahu and say, we're not giving you any more, we're not selling you weapons, we're not going to give you money anymore until you go to end the occupation. Because, see, it's two things, right? End the
Yeah.
occupation
Yeah.
and a ceasefire. It's not one or the other, it's both.
Yes.
Guarantee if the United States cut off their money.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, and this just goes back to them not having the fight and not being, and like literally their job is to fight for the American people. It's their job, and they don't have the fight. They're not willing to do it.
No, they get in there to be millionaires and billionaires. I
Mhm.
saw Nancy Pelosi's net worth and I was like, how do you get that much money for being in Congress?
Yeah.
Apparently, I have the wrong job, right?
Right?
What I should do, run for office because apparently this is how you get rich in America. I did not know this. Again, they need to wear the patches just like the NASCAR drivers. Wear those
Mhm.
patches of who's giving them money.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
um it's just amazing to me that people don't want to support Dr. West. But again, it just tells me that they're scared
Yeah.
about the moment and a movement and what we can do and what we will do.
Mhm.
We're going to try, every bone in our body is going to work
Yeah.
to get him on the ballot. Every bone in our body is going to work to get him to the White House.
Yep.
Um, it's just something I feel. So again, I want to thank those people. I just learned to. I'm just going to keep thanking them because again, they did something for me that I mean, I was literally telling myself all types of positive things. I'm like, this isn't working. This isn't working. Read those. I'm like, okay, that's what I needed. I need somebody else to tell me you can't to make me say, yes, I can. Watch me.
Uh-huh. Watch me. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're gonna get to these two last comments, and then I will um end the show. Cornel West's priority is for democratic affairs to help people in this country who have been neglected for way too long. Absolutely agree. I can't stand RBN with their negative narrative. I guess they got theirs and don't care about the rest. Or they got it from Jimmy Dore. Oh, shut up. See, I'm trying to, eventually I would like somebody with the West campaign to appear on this show. So I have to watch how I talk because I want to say what's on my mind. And sometimes what's on my mind, I don't think of, it just comes out of my mouth. I'm like, ooh, stop that, stop that, stop that. So everybody, thank you for watching me struggle. I don't know what happened to the guest I was supposed to have tonight. But again, thank you, Trini, for coming on at what literally the last minute.
No problem.
Everybody visit CornelWest2024.com. Learn how you can volunteer. The campaign hasn't stopped me from saying this yet. Volunteer. Volunteer. We need
Yes.
foot love
Yes.
warriors. We need foot
Yes.
love warriors to get out there to get him on the ballot in every state. From Alaska, Hawaii, California. I'm not going to name them all. But from California to Maine, from Maine to Florida, from Florida to Washington, and from Texas to one of those Dakotas. It's up north. One of them, I forget which one is the most north, but I would say north, but I think it's actually, yeah, I'll say North Dakota just for the argument. So the campaign needs foot love warriors. Donations are always Appreciate it. And speaking of donations, yes, I'm plugging it again. May
Go
10th,
Tracy.
May 10th, May 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The virtual fundraiser for Dr. Cornel West and Melina Abdullah will take place on my Zoom room. I'm leaving it up there so that you can register. I believe the link is in the description section, but that's just kind of a shortcut because all those words won't fit in these little boxes on StreamYard, so I shorten it. So go to there, buy your ticket. Let's get Dr. West to the White House. This is a moment and a movement. Hashtag I'm going west. Have a good evening. I will see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye bye.